Now let's start with the news. And relatives of the Takoradi girls who were recently declared dead, having gone missing for months, were left disappointed when they had to return home without the remains after a trip to the police headquarters in Accra. They met with the Inspector General of Police to, among others, demand the skeletal remains of their children, as well as the DNA reports, which confirmed that they were those of the girls. The IGP, James Opombueno, after a closed-door meeting where the relatives tabled their demands, directed that the families be sent to the police hospital morgue, where they got to see the remains for the first time. Within the period, the Director of Police Public Affairs, Sheila Abeye Backman, briefed the media on what transpired at the meeting, explaining the CID was now focused on prosecuting those involved in the crime.
First point was about the skeletal remains, which they wanted to see, and they have been conducted round, they have been briefed, they asked all questions they wanted to ask. In fact, to the point that there are some non-biological items which some people identified as could belong to some of the victims. And then the bit about the reports, IGP said yes, they could get the reports, but it's a matter of procedure. So at the right time, per the right procedure, they will get the reports. And then the third point about having a second opinion, IGP said yes, they are always at liberty to have a second test done. They should only follow the law, and that at the time of taking the sample, a police officer will be there for them to take the sample, because the remains are in the custody of the police now, and that they can do that per the lawful procedure. The bit about the case involving allegation of police officers aiding the escape of suspects, IGP said that yes, police discipline procedure takes some time, and so by all means they are undergoing the procedure. I think it's at the trial stage, and so after the end of the trial, they will know which police officers were guilty or not, and the punishments that would be leveled against them. And the thing about pronouncements made by certain officers, the IGP said he is the head of the service. He apologized for all pronouncements that they see are in bad taste. Going forward, the objective is to secure justice, to secure conviction of all perpetrators involved in this. And so we expect the family to help in doing that, to which the family also agreed. Investigation is different from prosecution. Police, we are investigating, and the process has not ended, and it will not end until prosecution has taken over totally and every evidence. I am not a scientist to be able to tell how old skeletal remains are or not. To be honest, they were given all the opportunity to ask all the questions. There were two pathologists, including a civilian pathologist who was called to also be part of the process, and there was a DNA expert. So I believe that the questions they asked were answered. So the bit about whether the eye can tell how old skeletal remains are, that I cannot answer.
Meanwhile, Emmanuel Anzakwabna, the grandfather of Ruth Abakan, the first girl who went missing, gave a bit more detail as to why the remains could not be released to the families unless they had been able to secure a court order.
But they told us that it's a court order. It's court order. So unless court approve, and they have a lot of work to do with the bones, they are going to witness the court with the bones, and they finish all the verdict. Now that they have not completed, they have to charge the suspect. But without the bones, they can't do that. And without the court order, they cannot release the bones to us. So they will see to it that after their court actions, they will give the bones to us. Or another one is that if you accept that the bones is our relative, now you either accept it or deny it. So when you deny the bones, why do you take the bones? So you are going there to see and identify and rectify everything from the hospital. When you see that this is the bones, okay, this is my granddaughter, Ruth Abeka. I know the head, how he is, she is. So when you get to know everything, you come and pick it. That's all.
Rich Quayson, the father of Ruth Love Quayson, however, insists that they will go to court to secure the court order, saying they are not convinced that the remains are those of their daughters.
I went to the commander office, and the commander says, yeah, I can collect the bones, but I can pay for my own. I said, okay, no problem for that. So they gave us a date that today, 24th, if we can come to the Accra to meet the IJP. Now, they brought us to Accra here. But unfortunately, they are telling us another story that unless we go to court to seek a court permission or a court rule before we should be given the bonds. But that was not what they told us. It wasn't that the decision we made, you see. So we are very, very disappointed. I'll go to the court because I need the bonds. Because 100% I know that they are not their children. Because they are forcing to close the docket or something like that. Because how comes that the Tiwa said, we have seen the children, we talked to them, everyone is okay, and they will come to the family very soon. And for a few months or less than 2 months, he said, you have seen the bones, and the bones are rotten, you can't even identify unless the forensic people. That means what they were saying is a lie. Yeah, that's what I know. So I know totally that they are trying to close the docket or something like that because they have maybe it's two things. Either they have spent a lot or they are tired of the case. So from here, we are going to seek this application how to get to the court because I will never leave it.
Away from this, the Chief Executive of the National Petroleum Authority, Hassan Tampoli, has revealed that a total of some 4,500 jobs would be created when the cylinder recirculation model comes into effect. He assured Ghanaians, especially players in the industry, that no jobs would be lost in the process. Mr. Hassan Tampoli made the revelation during the last of various public engagements regarding the subject in WA.
The National Petroleum Authority (NPA) stakeholder engagement with members of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs is the last phase of the cylinder recirculation model (CRM) regional engagement. The event is part of the nationwide exercise to engage members of the public about the policy, their contributions or feedback on how together they can roll out a policy that addresses the needs of the consumer. Members of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs and Queen Mothers of the various provinces and divisional areas were joined by heads of decentralized departments, personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service, and some leaders of identifiable groups in the region. The goal of the policy is to ensure that at least 50% of Ghanaians have access to safe, clean and environmental friendly LPG for increased domestic, commercial and industrial usage by 2030. Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Hassan Tampoli, explains further.
So the main purpose of the policy again is for us to deepen penetration of LPG distribution consumption from the current 25% to 50% in the next 11 years. And we believe this is achievable in the sense that we will no longer be carrying our cylinders to various refill points, but the cylinders will be made available to us in our various homes, offices, in our towns, communities, villages, and wherever we are. You don't need to carry your cylinder and go for filling. You just take the empty cylinder to a distribution outlet and pick a filled cylinder.
Hassan Tampoli revealed that by the time the policy is implemented, they will have added 4,500 jobs to the already existing jobs in the country.
Moving on, 33-year-old Kwesi Kumperpoer is basking in glory after overcoming his handicap to grow crops and also raise chickens at Miawani in the Bono East region. He braces all storm with great attitude to perform every task on his farm. Kwesi says his inability to continue his education was not a reason to join hundreds on the street to beg. JoyNews Mohammed Nuruddin has more.
My first harvest brought happiness to me because I got good market and I was able to expand my farm.
Kwesi was born a normal baby but became physically challenged at a tender age due to what he says are family issues he would want to keep private. He rides a small motorbike just about 10 minutes to his 37-acre farm daily to attend to his crops. Kwesi spent about 30 minutes to set traps for game and feed his birds.
Anytime I come to the farm, I make sure I feed the birds and monitor their movement to prevent any attack from any wild animals. I also set traps for game and do other activities including weeding.
The sight of Kwesi busy at work leaves one wondering if there's anything he cannot do.
It is a passion. I really love farming. I also have a bar that I manage, but my passion always brought me here. Sometimes I use some of my profit from the bar to manage the farm.
He is a great example of a person who is making the most of his gifts. His positive attitude, courage, and work ethic make him a true inspiration. 33-year-old Kwesi boasts of large stock of agricultural produce including maize. Averagely, he makes 10,000 Ghana cedis each good farming season, besides what he feeds his family with.
I make about 10,000 Ghana cedis each farming season, and I am happy about that because I live a very comfortable life. Sometimes I do help others, and we all benefit from the farm.
Unfortunately, why Kwesi dropped out of school is hard to explain.
I know education is very important, but academically I was not good. And begging on the street was not an option for me either, so I decided to venture into farming to help myself.
He sometimes regrets his condition, especially when he remembers his heydays or sees his colleagues actively working and enjoying themselves. Kintampo North Municipal Assembly is providing special treatment to Kwesi and other physically challenged farmers.
One of the AEA that was in charge of that area
Municipal Director Simon Yambo says his outfit visits him regularly to provide extension services.
And this particular farmer was given the promising fiscally challenged farmer. So this year I decided to make a follow-up to his place, and I saw that what he's doing is worth challenging and is motivating enough. So we encourage him, make sure that the agriculture officer is always with him to help him in any challenge he's having with his farm.
Many village folks admire Kwesi for his energy and hard work. In fact, they see him as a legend. Ambitious Kwesi looks forward to clinching the National Best Farmer Award one day. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin's report for Joy News.
Well, this is a story of great effort, ultimately expected to lead to rewards. But moving on, we have to let go of the latest we have. But before we go, you see it everywhere. People often hunched over their cell phones and computers for several hours. It is apparently in the medical field the leading cause of a new health condition commonly referred to as text neck. And JoyNews Komladum explores the phenomenon, which he reports is sending many people to the hospital with various ailments, complaining of back and neck complications.
Most people look on their phones with their heads bent forward for long hours on a daily basis. And you might not realize that, because even with desktop computers and laptops, it is nearly the same. Fingers slap the keys on the keyboard while the eyes remain fixed on a screen below the natural eye level. Your head weighs as much as a 10-pound bowling ball, and in the position you find nearly everyone hold their head while using their phones, your head can feel like 40 pounds or more, putting tremendous pressure on your neck and lower back.
Is it painful? The top is, yeah, so there's a lot of tension over there.
Myoskeletal therapist at Best Hands Therapy Clinic, Kafui Badiga, says he's been seeing a lot of patients with unbearable neck and back problems.
Enter into a car, go to the bank, the mall, and all that you see is that everybody is going in this particular direction. Now, apart from the text neck, we have a term that we also call the flexaholic society. It's like we are gradually going in this particular manner or format. When you keep doing this for a long time, as in bending down and watching over your phone and doing stuff, eventually your spine, the natural curvatures of your spine will begin to diminish. That's the first thing. Now you're going to have a lot of tension build up in the neck. A lot of pressure is going to be put on the disc and the nerves in your neck. And then not that alone, you are going to have your shoulders rounded. Okay, then the rounding of the shoulder, the openings or the foramens for which you have the nerves branching through are going to reduce. And that is going to put a lot of pressure, on your nerves. Now, what happens is that eventually you may develop a condition we call carpal tunnel, or sometimes what we call thoracic outlet syndrome.
I have come to his clinic to find answers to several questions about the new malady that is causing many people to hunch. Like my colleagues at work, I spent several hours behind the computer. On the streets, in the car, at the office, everywhere.
It's not a good habit, but because of interesting things that we used to do on our phones, that's why sometimes we'll be in this postcard. If I'm on maybe business or something on WhatsApp or Facebook.
Emmanuel Fosu concedes it is a habit. Emmanuel feels the impact of a long bend forward.
Because sometimes I even be on my phone, then I feel pain on my neck and even my back. Yeah, sometimes I even think I think it's a pain, so I used to take a painkiller. Then sort of, yeah.
It's supposed to be straight, yes, but you can realize that there are some curvatures that is actually taking place within it. So we will call this one lumbar scoliosis. This neck is kind of okay, but if you look at it from this particular angle, the person has still got some amount of curvature, good curvature inside. So if you bend the neck this way and there's an amount of curve you had in your neck, then that means you don't have enough curvatures. But if it is caught early, then by way of therapy, by way of good stretches and corrective exercises, we can get the person, relieved of the symptoms.
People like Emmanuel mirror the bigger picture of a country and its people, gradually causing their neck and back discomfort and pain that could lead to long-term spine problems.
What that you just need is a cloth or a very light towel, as I'm holding. Okay, then when you just fold it around it, and then you just put it right at the base of your neck. Okay, you just hold it gently, and then you begin to move your neck all over it. Okay, you do that. So you can repeat this exercise for like 15 seconds, doing about 10 counts in all. And then one of the things that also adds up to that is that, a stretch. Position yourself this way. the neck goes back. You hold this position for like 5 seconds. You breathe in deeply, and out. One more time, in and out. That's all. So you do that. The shoulder moves back, the neck also moves back. The posture is corrected, and you are good.
Myoskeletal therapist Kafui Badiga gives some remedies.
Ideally, we are supposed to actually hold them to closer to our, almost to the eye level. Ideally, okay. So ideally, when you hold them this way to work on them, so you don't end up, having your neck go all this way. Okay, so you want to make them up a bit. If this is your laptop or something, when you put it down, it must come up to the eye level, or you adjust your seat to come up a bit, then you can bring it to the eye level, then you can begin to use them. Or either you depress your seat so the computer is up and then you are below, so that you can watch the screen properly and use.
Follow the advice of those who know.
We're always busy, yeah? Phone. Joseph Akable right here is always telling me I'm always on WhatsApp phone. Well, I guess we all have learned something. And Komla Adom has a dead neck currently, has a spinal problem, neck problem and all that. I guess that inspired him to do that story. And we all also have been inspired by this to go read more about, what did he say again about the neck problem? Health complications because of bones and necks. Well, so that'll be it for now, but we have to do news reviews next. Myself, Mamavi Oswambwaje, we're here to tell you what is occupying the front and back pages of the newspapers. But today, we also do have the man who has been blazing the trail in Ghana's high life or contemporary high life music scene. Bisakeda is right here in the studio. We'll have some great time with him as well. He'll give us some red dishes, I promise you. But also, GFA decides as today they are electing, following the election of members of the executive committee of the Football Association that was undertaken yesterday, the president today. So look, we're going to have some great conversations around it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.